Hey, it's Tina Lorenz, and this is part one of the Unstuckable You Masterclass. Today, we're going beyond the law of attraction into something deeper. This is about divine guidance, inner wisdom, and what's already inside of you. Let's get to it. Tina Lorenz, I'm your host today. I've been online since 2004, and the reason I put this masterclass together is because so many times I get asked, how did you get started so fast? How were you able to hit the $500,000 mark in a year? And it really came down to when I really analyzed that for myself over time of just this complete focused energy of believing, totally believing, really becoming that person, an internal shift for me who had never made more than $32,000 a year up to that time. I had never been paid to write anything, had no previous experience, did not have a college degree, on my own at 17. The list goes on of all the reasons why I'm a very unlikely success story. And I was already past 50. That's the other point. So the underlying foundation for all of this is how you think, what you believe, what you tap into for that divine wisdom. And over time, I began to realize some of the things I was accidentally doing. And I can only say that was because I had that inner wisdom connection going that was guiding me and propelling me along. That's what made the difference, and what I will refer to as child energy. If you ever remember when you were a kid, or it was Christmas or a special holiday, some special time, did you ever feel that energy that literally felt like a physical, energized, can't sit still, catch your breath kind of energy? Have you ever felt that? Am I the only one? I think that's really how I approached my first year of making this huge shift to quantum leap into becoming a freelance copywriter, marketing strategist, and where that's taken me since then. So 18 years of experience doing this, still building, still learning. It's not a one-time wonder for getting it, right? And putting myself in positions of masterminds and other kinds of guidance along the way, working with mentors and coaches, all of those things, because I started off I didn't know how to do anything. Didn't know how to be online, didn't know how to have a website, didn't know how to write anything more than a sales letter, what we'd call an online sales letter. And that's how I began. I only charged a few $100s at first. And by the end of 1 year, that was way more than that. And so we're going to talk about these four essentials, and what I call principles. And the difference between principles and strategies and tactics is that principles are enduring. Principles don't go away. Principles keep working, right? And strategies and tactics can change. So what we're going to learn today are these eternal principles, what this is and what this isn't and why. This is not a masterclass to teach you how to market, to teach you how to write emails. I've got plenty of places you can learn that, all those strategies. This is about the foundation. This is about that underpinning that carries you through whatever it is that you need to learn, whatever it is you want to do in your life based on these scientific principles. So this isn't here's how we're going to start your online business. That's part of it. That can be part of it, depending on what emerges for you as your calling and your purpose. And I can certainly help anyone with that. I've been doing it for 18 years. But I want to tell you the basis for this that you're going to learn today are 4 words. And I call them the 4 words because they came to me, and we're going to talk a lot about divinity and the universe and our connection. For me, that's all a God-based foundation, whatever it is for you. I'm not saying anyone needs to believe a certain way, but if you believe there's something outside of ourselves, something deeper that makes up who you are, who we are, hyphenated, that has something beyond how we appear in the world, color of our hair, what we're wearing, what our name is, our personalities. That's the ego part of us, but this is something deeper. And I'm going to be referring to that all through this masterclass, because that is, if you want to call it a secret, and I don't want it to be a secret, of what carried me forward very rapidly in my business, what continues to sustain me in my life as well, because this is more than just about money. We're going to talk about money, but how you do money is how you do everything. And how you think about things is how you think about everything, in the sense of what you believe is possible for yourself. These 4 words then were, I will say, given to me. I call it a divine download, a DM. I was during a time where about 10 years ago, where I was going through a very tough time. It's all been like, oh, everything awesome from day one. No, none of us have that. We all have the bumps and the waves and undulations of actual life, right? And I got sick. I got C. difficile, which can be a life-threatening illness. And it came about because of heavy doses of antibiotics I had to take when I was having some dental surgery. And I ended up with that. And during that time, and then this is also, I think, something that's really something to consider in your life, that this polarity of things, that during a time that felt like, oh my gosh, this is like horrible, right? When I was going through, and I was really sick with it, like really just not feel well, not able to think. I honestly can't remember exactly how I got there. I think it was more of just prayerful help
during this difficult time, I began to get really specific messages that came to me of just how I was thinking about, wow, what is that? And I'd write it down. I'd write down these things that were coming into my thinking that were really what I call divine DMs. And you probably have them too. Maybe you notice them, maybe you don't. But I started writing them down. And that's actually how I also came to what we call the celestial Sherpa, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But I was writing these things down and I'd read it and I'm like, oh, this can't possibly be something I'm supposed to do. No, I don't think so. You must have me mistaken with somebody else. But yet I knew I was supposed to write them down. And then I would literally put them in a folder, and I still had the folder. And then I'd stack books on it. It'd be on my desk and I'd have 5 or 6 books on top of it because I didn't want to look at it. But at the same time, I knew it was meant for me. And so this was a process. These things don't necessarily happen. Oh, got it. Thanks. See you next time. And we're going to talk about those 4 words because it took me a while to work with them. And I didn't actually share them with anyone for about 7 more years. And where I shared them was in a small group at an event I did in Tucson right before the pandemic. It was a VIP gathering at a larger gathering I was doing. And I decided I'm supposed to start sharing this. I knew I was supposed to, was afraid to, but I presented the 4 words to the group. And I think we went through about 4 boxes of Kleenex during that one-day event. People were just so moved by it as they began to realize what it meant for them. And that's what this is about. That's what the Celestial Sherpa is about. It's not me. I'm not it for other people. It's for all of us. And that's another term that came to me. I actually had a trademark. It was that profound to use in my business because I knew a Sherpa was someone that would guide people and go to the Himalayas. But I looked it up because I thought maybe there's something I'm missing here. And there was, because it also means an emissary, someone bringing a message. So then I did my mental fight with all that of just, oh, that's not me, that whole deal. You got it, right? But as I did more of this exploratory, prayerful contemplation, meditation, writing down what I was getting, I began to realize there are 3 levels of impact to this. And that first, we receive that messaging and guidance for ourselves. That's the first level. Second level is we receive it on behalf of the people we work with, on behalf of our clients. And we literally can use the practice I'm going to talk about today to connect more deeply to those we serve. And you don't have to tell them, you don't have to wave your old freak flag and say, oh, God told me or anything like that. You can just know that this is how you're connecting with your clients. Some clients you may talk about it with. I have clients that I definitely have that conversation with. But it comes through into how you're serving them in whatever capacity you are serving your clients. And the third level is how it impacts their people. Who are they serving? What is their sphere of influence? Because something about how you're serving them now has come through like a beautiful filter to their people. So that's the 3 levels. And I often have 3. The number 3 comes through prominently for me in a lot of my things, my business and my programs. But when I got that, when I understood, oh, that's Celestial Sherpa, okay, I'm good with that. And there's some people on this call right now that have been in my programs and we refer to being Celestial Sherpas, right? Because that's what that's about. So we're going to talk about all those things today, just some of the terminology, a little glossary of some of the terms, and just take what works for you. I'm not trying to convert people, but I do want to help people see that this is how you can start creating. Or sometimes we're afraid of the word manifesting and all that, but it's a real thing. And all of us are doing it every single day. We just don't realize that maybe what we're manifesting is exactly the stuff we don't want. Because that's what we're paying attention to. That's what we're believing is possible. That's where we're putting our focus. And so we are all, you might say we're all like absolutely masterful manifestors right now because whatever we are experiencing, we are attracting and creating and having in our life. And sometimes there's that, oh, wait a minute, what about the bad stuff? Other stuff comes through, challenges, sickness, loss, all of those things. But there's a polarity to everything, 2 sides to everything. And we can't have one side without the other. And even when it's very difficult, 2 sides of a battery, positive, negative, 2 sides of a pancake. Oh, there's just 2 sides. That's the way it is. You don't see square pancakes with 4 sides or how many sides, however many sides that'll be. So we have to understand, and that's how we interpret the experiences and how we define the story in our part in it, that all plays a huge role in what happens next, right? And how we deal with what is happening when it is difficult, when it is hard, when it is scary. How do we react to that? That's what we can control. That's what we have the power to change, is our own connection to it. So let's talk about what the 4 words.
I hope this gave you a new way to look at what's really possible. Don't miss part 2. I'll be sharing the first of the 4 words that shift everything. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if this sparks something for you. I'm Tina Lorenz, and this is Unstuckable You.